It's another day, another DC project is announced by DC Studios. Welcome back to Movies TV Mad. I'm Mick, your host with the most, just ask your girlfriends and your wives. So, as I say, it's another day. Another DC project announced by DC Studios in conjunction with Swaybox Productions, Matt Reeves, James Gunn, Peter Safran, DC Studios, Warner Brothers Animation. A very huge project, yet another huge project has been announced, and this is going to be called Dynamic Duo. This will be an animated stroke CGI puppeteering movie feature for theatres and cinemas. So as a DC fan, how can you not be excited about a project like this? How can you not be excited by the previous project they announced last week, which is a Bane and Deathstroke movie? It's all very, very exciting, but are they overstretching themselves before they've even released Creature Commandos, and Superman is released not till next July? So I think I'm asking that question. Is it foolhardy or ambitious, or is it a sign of confidence in what they're doing that they're going forward with all these projects? As I forewarned last week, you know, the DCEU did the same thing. They had a slate. There was going to be a Cyborg movie. There was going to be a Green Lantern Corps movie. There was going to be this, that. A lot of the stuff that we never ever saw because they got overexcited. And in the end, because their movies weren't accepted generally by audiences, it didn't work out. And they kept on changing their directions. I think what's very important is that if you're going to announce stuff, if you've got a vision, you've got to stick by that vision. You can kind of move it about a bit if things aren't working out, but when you start announcing these things, then, you know, you've got to go with them. And this is the problem with going forward before you've released anything. You don't know if the public are going to like what they see. As a DC fan, I want nothing more than Creature Commandos and next July's Superman to be brilliant and to be successful. You know, we've been dreaming of this as DC fans for years. A successful, connected universe. But where's the DCU Batman? The DCU, as I say, has announced a Bane and Deathstroke movie, and now an animated CGI puppeteering, groundbreaking animated feature called The Dynamic Duo, about the two Robins, Jason Todd and Dick Grayson, when they're very, very young. They're friends, right? Even before they go on the rob and they start breaking into people's houses, blah, blah, blah. And there comes a time within this story, within this film, they will disagree on each other's life choices. It sounds very, very interesting, and I'm sure it will be doing a lot of world building to the, you know, outer DC universe as well. Another thing we have to say, Matt Reeves, as I say, it's a co-production between, you know, Six Idaho Productions, which is Matt Reeves' production company, DC Studios, James Gunn, Safran, Warner Brothers Animation, and Warner Brothers Pictures. So this is not part of the Matt Reeves, the Batman universe. This is part of the DCU, which is also very interesting because there seems to be a coming together of Matt Reeves and James Gunn. Now, the person writing this movie, which is a slight red flag, like the person writing the Bane and Deathstroke movie, is the guy who did Coco, a really good film. So that's one good thing. That's not a red flag. But it's also the person who wrote Lightyear. Now, to be clear, I can only tell you about people's reactions to Lightyear, which wasn't great. I've never seen Lightyear, I'll be honest. There's a lot of new stuff I just don't watch anymore because I kind of know what we're going to get today. So I don't know, but kind of a red flag, because Lightyear, at the end of the day, was a huge flop. It didn't work out how Disney wanted. And again, we've got an MCU writer for the Bane Deathstroke movie, and we've got a Disney writer for this animated CGI puppeteering movie. But at the very least, this project does show a lot of ambition from DC Studios. So what's going on? As I've already asked, where is the DCU Batman? Already 2 projects announced in Batman's universe without Batman. Where is he? Where is the Brave and the Bold movie? Will the Brave and the Bold movie come before these two projects? Would it come at all? I've said this to you before, and it's seemingly very obvious to me that after the Batman 2, they will announce Robert Pattinson, basically, which is Matt Reeves' Batman, as part of the DCU. I'm convinced Pattinson will be a part of the DCU. I think it's the only way we can go forward, and it does look like Matt Reeves has got a huge hold over Batman, that he has to be involved with every Batman project. It seems to be the way. Now let's be clear, despite its white racism, I enjoyed the Batman. Despite my fears of a bait and switch for the Penguin, I'm enjoying the first 2 episodes. That doesn't mean we won't get that worrying bait and switch. We will see. But so far, so good. But the animated Batman series that they sold off quickly because they didn't want it on Max. They want, it was a disaster basically. The Batman animated series that Matt Reeves and J.J. Abrams and Bruce Timm were involved with didn't go down too well. It wasn't great. So I think when Matt Reeves writes something and directs something, it's awesome. The guy is a genius, and there's no question there is some extreme left tendencies with Matt. He is a little bit woke, but what I would say about Matt, he's very good at hiding it. He doesn't go full throttle with his wokeness, and that's why I always forgive his wokeness, because at least the story and the characterizations with Matt always come first. So I do think the Batman universe is in good hands. But it's interesting, again, that this is a DC Universe project that's actually, in partnership with Matt Reeves and James Gunn. That's interesting. Also a project that they were very proud to announce on social media. There's been so many projects. Have they even confirmed the Bane and Deathstroke thing? I don't think that they have, but I think that's definitely happening. Comes from Boris Kitt, Hollywood Reporter, pretty good source, not pretty good source, definitely a good source. So I'd say, in terms of Bane and Deathstroke, I'm excited. I have a few kind of reservations, like I have about DCU in general, but I'm still excited about the DCU, even though I have my concerns. We've all wanted this, as I've already said, for years. Something like this. The announcement of all these projects is nothing more than exciting. But, again, you have to ask the question, this is a huge project, this is going to be an expensive project, has it got the potential to make money? Of course it's got the potential to make money. Dick Grayson is a very, very popular character. Jason Todd, not so much, but I think people are interested in seeing Jason Todd's and Dick Grayson's young story. So it's a very interesting choice. And also what I like about the DCU so far, how different each project has been. You look at Creature Commandos, then Superman, 2 very different projects. Then Supergirl, even though she's from the House of L, this is going to be a very different story to the Superman movie starring David Cornswell. Then you've got The Authority, again, very different to Creature Commandos, Superman and Supergirl. And then obviously you've got Lanterns, which will be on Max as a series, very, very different. Then you've got Paradise Lost, which is part of Wonder Woman's universe, which Wonder Woman won't be involved with, another Max series. So all these projects are very different, and this is what Gunn promised from the very beginning. So I don't think we should be disappointed by this announcement. I certainly think we should be excited about this announcement. I think it's an exciting announcement, but there should be some reservations ahead as well, because everything you make in entertainment is a gamble. But here's the thing, it should be a gamble. Never go for sure things, because sure things never end up as being sure things. Justice League, look what happened with Justice League, right? Superman movies, Superman Returns, Man of Steel should have been sure things. And and then an Aquaman movie makes $1 billion. The thing you don't think's a sure thing ends up being a sure thing. The best thing is, take your shot, make what you want to make. Don't try and fight the studio executives as much as you can. With DC Studios, James Gunn is a studio executive, but he's also the storyteller. He's also the director. And then Peter Safran is the producer. That's a good mix there, as long as James has got as equal say-so as Safran has. Safran is the link to the studio, and Zaslav will also have an influence here. Now, I already spoke yesterday about Zaslav being desperate for a Batman movie to go into development, and all I can see from this partnership with Matt Reeves and James Gunn and DC Studios is that maybe Matt Reeves has forged to the idea of his Batman, Robert Pattinson, being the DCU Batman. Now, here's the thing. When James Gunn spoke about his Batman, he spoke about a more fantastical Batman. Now, how would this work? Would it be a continuation of Reeves' universe? Would it just be Pattinson moving towards a new universe? I have no idea how they would do it. I think this is the only way forward. Now, it could be that Brave and the Bold is still happening the way James Gunn has described it. But here's the thing for me. There's no Brave and the Bold. Nothing's happening with Brave and the Bold. Let's look at this very carefully, the projects that has got movement. So basically, they've made Creature Commandos. It's coming in December, I think. Superman has been made, and now it's going through post-production. So that's happening. Supergirl is preparing. It's in pre-production, I think, or close to pre-production. Supergirl is happening. Lanterns have just cast their lead actor. Lanterns is happening. Now, Paradise Lost seems to have nothing going on with it. And also the Authority, we don't seem to be hearing much about the Authority right now. So that's interesting. So there's a lot of projects. The projects you know are definitely happening or are close to be happening are, you can see movement. Whether it's reports from the media or social media, you can see activity. And this is how this industry works. Take it from someone who understands this industry. So there's no movement on Brave and the Bold. None. Whenever there's been a rumour, Gunn shot it down immediately. There is no script. There's no casting. And he's right. There's nothing. What he won't answer is why is there no movement with Brave and the Bold. Let's go through it again. They've just announced 2 movies in the space of 4 days in Batman's universe, but there's no movement on Brave and the Bold. I think it is looking like Pattinson will be part of the DCU. And for me, that's perfect. Now, for a lot of fans of the Reeves verse, they won't be happy about this. They won't want him coming into a bottled universe. I understand that. They won't be happy if a third Batman movie doesn't happen. But of course, a third Batman movie could be part of DCU. Otherwise, the DCU won't have a Batman for a very long time. Is it possible that the Reeves verse is actually DC Universe, right? Again, let's look at this. When Gunn was asked if he had anything to do with Penguin, he said he gave suggestions. Now, don't forget, pretty much Todd Phillips' name hasn't escaped from James Gunn's lips. There's definitely no question that he was not involved with Phillips' movie. Phillips wouldn't hear of it. And, he's under David Zaslav's protection. So he's done everything he's wanted to do. So, and he's saying he's done. Now, after Folie à Deux, should I say, to get it right. Is it Folie à Deux? Whatever, I'm making it up as I go along as well. A bit like the people who used to write Lost. A great show. But, yeah, I think because of this close relationship that Matt Reeves and James Gunn seem to have, and because you can't have 2 Batmen, and because of the announcement of this animated CGI puppeteering feature for cinemas, it's pretty clear to me, and it's been announced that this feature that was announced yesterday in the United States from Reeves, from Gunn, very proudly announcing it on social media, I think this kind of gives you a big sign, an exciting sign, that actually the Reeves-verse is part of DCU. That's what I think. That's what I think. I don't think that was the plan when James first came in. I think it's clear that he wanted to go with his, Brave and the Bold. But I don't think Brave and the Bold will happen. I think Brave and the Bold will be put to one side and they'll go with what Matt Reeves wants. I mean, there's no question that Reeves is in charge of the Batman side of DC Studios. And I think, as I say, there's no mention. They haven't cast the Batman. They haven't cast the Batman. Lots of rumours, but they haven't cast the Batman. They've got a director. There was rumours about writers, but officially there's no writer attached for Brave and the Bold either. So for me, I think the Reevesverse is part of DCU. And I think this won't be announced. I don't think you'll hear anything, until the Batman 2's done. But here's another kind of line of thinking. What if the Batman 2 is announced as a DCU movie? Think about it. So at the moment, the Batman 2 and the Batman and the Penguin are part of this Elseworlds universe. But Reeves is producing a feature, this animated puppeteering CGI feature that sounds very exciting, very groundbreaking, and very expensive. It's a DCU project, but Reeves is part of it. So I think it is very realistic and very possible that Reeves and Gunn will announce that the Batman 2, and actually the Batman and everything, has always been part of DCU. And you can easily do this because we haven't seen anything from DCU yet. This can just be, because I've always said, not every film has to look the same or feel like it's part of the same universe. Think about this. If you come from, we all come from the planet Earth, right? So if I come from Cyprus, Cyprus visually looks very different to the UK. But we're all on the same planet. We're from the same universe. So it's okay for Matt Reeves' universe to be gritty and have that realism, and then Gunn's universe to be a little bit more sci-fi and fantastical at the same time. There's nothing wrong with that. I know people won't agree with that, but I think it can work. So, because as I said from day one, you can't have two Batmen. You can't. Gunn knows this. Reeves knows this. These are clever people, right? Or I hope they're as clever as I give them credit for. They know. They know you can't have two Batmen. They know it is not going to work. So at this moment in time, all I can see is that Brave and the Bold is out. It's not happening. And it may be that Brave and the Bold was never going to happen and he just put it in there as a bookmark just in case he couldn't persuade Reeves to kind of join up his universe with DC Universe. What would it mean for Gunn, for Matt Reeves' universe to join DCU? A lot. It's huge because people trust Matt Reeves, people love the Batman, people love the Penguin, so it would be huge. And I think that Reeves will absolutely be in charge of the Batman universe in DCU. I think if he's agreed to this, which I think he has, by the way, I think he's been given assurances that the Batman side of it is his. He'll have to integrate it slightly with DC Universe, but he can still do his own thing. I think that's what's going to happen because Reeves seems very happy with working with Gunn. There's obviously been discussions about this because, look, you can imagine a scenario. Look, Matt, I kind of would like your Batman universe to be part of our universe because we can't have two Batmen. I've announced the Batman movie to keep people quiet because if I don't announce Batman, I've announced Superman and Supergirl, but not Batman. I mean, he hasn't even announced Wonder Woman. Although we're getting Paradise Lost, there's no Wonder Woman movie. We do not know what's happening with Wonder Woman. Clearly, they have an idea. They have a plan in what's going to happen. I think there'll be a lot of surprises, a lot of appearances in the Superman movie that we don't know about. Don't be surprised if Wonder Woman turns up. Don't be surprised if Batman doesn't turn up somehow, whoever that Batman's going to be, whether it is Pattinson or someone new for DCU. But it does seem to me that, I forgot where I was now, but I'll carry on talking anyway. I think that's the best way, just pretend I know what I'm doing. But I think it's clear to me that Reeves has agreed to join his universe with DC Universe. I think it's obvious. I think if you think about it, because he's partnering up with an animated puppeteering CGI movie that's not part of his universe. So the reality is, it is part of his universe, but it's also part of DCU, because the Reevesverse is now DCU. And I noticed that Boba Talks, which I don't always agree with Boba, but I think he's great at what he does, seemed a bit sceptical of that project. Boba doesn't seem to like any connection between what Reeves is doing and DCU. And I think it's because Boba can smell what I can smell and what a lot of you can smell, which is it's happening. It is happening. They're going to combine. The DCU and the Reevesverse are going to be part of the same universe. It's the only way forward. It's the only way forward. You can't have two Batmen. And I know that Boba won't agree with this. Have you noticed something? I don't think I did my shirt up properly. So it's a bit, what an idiot. Anyway, we will continue. So yeah, people like Boba are not going to be happy because they want the Reevesverse divided. They don't want it to be part of the DCU. And it's been a worry for them ever since James Gunn took over. And as I say, James Gunn would have been very well aware that how can we have two Batmen? But we're kind of stuck with this Reeves situation. What do we do? Do we let him do the Batman 2 and then go goodbye? Do we allow him to do the Batman 3, then say goodbye? That means you can't have a Batman in your universe probably till 2030. Because look how long it took him to develop the Batman 2, to write it. They're going to start shooting next year. It releases in 2026, right? So that's a big way. So I think, yeah, we are heading towards them announcing that what Reeves is doing is part of the DCU. My view, you pretty much know my view on this. I think it's look, James Gunn inherited a difficult situation with Joker and the Batman. With the Joker, Todd Phillips and James Gunn were never going to combine or align their skills, two different guys. So it was always going to be a case of Todd Phillips finishing up what he did with Folie and Dois, then walking away. I still think there's a chance of Gaga's Harley getting her own movie. That will be interesting. Now, is there a situation where she may become the DCU Harley? Unlikely. And I think because I've just said Todd Phillips and Gunn don't really align as far as I'm concerned. But who knows? And it's all about box office. And I think if Joker Folie and Dois, shall I say? I can't say it, can I? If Joker Folie and Dois is a success, and a success to them, this movie cost about 120 million. Now, they keep on reminding us that's a lot more than the other movie, which was 80 to 90 million, but 120 million, it's already been projected for 140 global opening. 140 million. That's still very, very good, because Joker Folie and Dois was never, ever going to make the money of the first Joker, because the musical element is off-putting. And I've seen a little bit of hate for it. People seem to hate the idea of a musical CBM. John Campea, and the man, look, I don't like Campea as a commentator on film. I don't know what he's like as a man, as a person. I'm sure he's very nice. But he said it's the worst movie of the year, which is a disgusting thing to say. You don't have to like CBM musicals. You don't have to like Joker Folie and Dois. But to call it, I've seen it, don't forget, to call it the worst movie of the year is a disgrace. Grace Randolph's trying to stir the shit, saying they cut down too many scenes with Lady Gaga's Harley in them. There's about an hour of Harley, I can confirm. There's an hour of Harley when you put the movie together in this film. Don't forget, shock horror. A movie with Joker in the title is more about the Joker than it is Harley. Oh my God, what a fucking controversy. But this is Grace Randolph for you, trying to stir the shit. She is the most unfaithful narrator on YouTube, on social media. What she says really doesn't mean jack shit, but at the end of the day, the knives are out for this movie. But I think if you go and watch it, and I think you should go and watch it and try it for yourselves, I think you're going to have a good time. If you don't like musicals, don't waste your time. It is a musical. It is a musical. There's no question about that. But let's go back. Let's leave that, because that's ifs, buts and maybes if Lady Gaga is actually going to get her solo Harley movie. I hope she does. Whether it's part of DCU, whether it's part of Elseworlds with Todd Phillips. I suspect if that happens, Todd Phillips won't be directing it. That's interesting. It's the way, I mentioned yesterday how he kind of stuttered as he tried to answer the question. He didn't want to deny it. He didn't want to confirm it. He said, I don't want to talk about it. So that's interesting. So something's going on there. you could have a combined two Harleys movie with, Margot Robbie and Lady Gaga, which would be kind of like nifty and interesting. But who knows? That's to the future. As I say, if buts and maybes. But going back to this announcement about this animated CGI puppeteering movie, on its own, it's very exciting, it's very ambitious, and people are going to be, as I say, this is what James Gunn promised. Live action, streaming, animation, and gaming. Now, we've heard nothing about gaming thus far. It's the gaming side that kind of concerns me. I mean, I'm not a big gamer. I don't really care about the gaming side, to be honest, whether they do it or not. But that's the hard thing to get right. As I say, I've said I have my doubts about a bottled connected universe at this moment in time. Really hard to perfect. But if Gunn manages to be successful with this, I'll bow to him. I'll kneel before him. Because to get this right, to get this successful, is really, really difficult. Because this is more ambitious than the MCU. To actually have live action movies, live action television, and then animated, expensive features like this, which is not just animation, CGI, as I've said multiple times already, and puppeteering. Now, my father, many years ago, when we were in Los Angeles, introduced me to one of what's his name? I forgot his bloody name now. Yeah, one of Jim Henson's puppeteers when I was like 19, 20. And that person taught me a lot about puppeteering. How to mix it in with live action, how to make it look convincing, how you move the puppets to make them. Because when we used to watch the Muppet Show, or when I watched the Muppets Christmas Carol, you forget they're actually fucking puppets. And so I learned a lot from that person. So it's very interesting to mix puppeteering, CGI, and animation. So it's an exciting project. It's a different project. It should be something all DC fans are excited about. And the confidence they're showing by going forward with all these projects, without Creature Commandos, without Superman being released till next July, is very, very ambitious. But Matt Reeves being involved with a DCU project. Now, don't forget Arkham, the Arkham Asylum series, was also announced, and it was going to be in conjunction. It was going to be a DCU property with Matt Reeves involved. It was not going to have anything to do with his side of things again. Now that, as far as I know, is not happening. But Matt Reeves keeps on changing what he's saying, so I'm not sure about that. I think, basically, as I've already said, it's going to be the Reeveverse is going to be part of the DCU. Whether you like that or not, I think that's what we're heading for. Because it's the only way. You've got to clean this situation up. There's Brave and the Bold been announced. There's the Batman. There's the Batman 2. There's Penguin. Something had to be arranged. And if Gunn has managed to convince Matt Reeves that, that his universe should be part of DCU, well done. I bow to you. Because going in, Matt Reeves wouldn't have wanted that. But also, Matt Reeves, there's a structure here. And Gunn, you would think, is higher up the food chain than Matt Reeves. Not that Gunn would be stupid enough to force Reeves out, but he could, if he wanted to, after the Batman 2. So it's clear to me that they've made some kind of arrangement here. And if it ends up with Robert Pattinson's Batman being part of the DC Universe, I think that's very good. And again, I know many Reeveverse fans will not, agree with me. But I think you've got a ready-made universe. It means that James Gunn doesn't have to rethink it. It means that Reeves can, get on with it. And I think he'll just have to find a way to blend it in with everything else that's going on. Because there's nothing going on with Brave and the Bold. That's clear. There's nothing at all. And there should be some kind of movement when something's in development, and there's no movement. There doesn't seem to be any kind of motivation to move forward with Brave and the Bold. And the clue that this movie was never going to happen is that Andres Muschietti was announced as director. He was announced as director to get the hype for the Flash movie, to get more people, more butts in seats, and it didn't work. I smelt a red flag with Muschietti being involved with that movie from the very beginning. So we shall see. Let me know in the comments, are you excited about this animated CGI puppeteering Robins movie? It's basically called The Dynamic Duo. Are you excited about that movie? Do you think they're going too fast, too soon? Would you like to see Robert Pattinson's and the Reeveverse combined with DCU? Comments down below. Like, share and subscribe. I'll see you again tomorrow.